In today's video, I'm going into pole dancing classes and specifically around movement and how getting your body moving and doing things like fun and enjoyable for yourself actually can help you shift from being in the crazy hours and exhausted and stressed from work. So continuing the series on burnout, today I wanted to go into talking about moving and dancing, and specifically for me it was pole dancing that helped me through these exhausting hours and the stress and kind of exactly how it helped me. So when I talk about pole dancing, I know a lot of people either react with thinking about stripping and it being for men, and that was never the case for me. I did classes and it was fitness and dancing and moving for myself. Like all of it was for me to feel good in myself, to build up my strength and more confidence. And that's what, like, the other group of people, when they hear about pole dancing, they're like, wow, that takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of work to do that. And yeah, it does. When you get into some of those inverts and you go upside down, like, you really have to have core strength, muscles, arm strength, legs, whatever, like all these things. Anyway, so again, I want to reiterate for myself, I wanted to do these classes to actually really feel good in my own skin, like to really feel comfortable and sexy. And yeah, I wanted to flow and spin around the pole. And when I think about the pole too, it's like it was kind of like gymnastics too, like there are things that these, people would come and do these, things on the pole that it's like, oh, you see that in gymnastics, or you see it in Cirque du Soleil, or, like the different circus things. And so not only was it for myself feeling comfortable and sexy and good in myself, it also had this added strength and, like added interesting shapes and forms that we could create and be. And so for myself, I would do these classes, and when I would get busy with work, I, over the years, had learned that I could work 65 hours and still have a life outside of work. And so I could still go to these classes and do them. And so during those times, I would go as long as I could before the hours got even more, but I would go. Doing still 65 hours was exhausting and tiring, and then I would go to these classes, and I started to realize that as I went to these classes, it was therapeutic. It was therapeutic mentally and physically. Because as soon as I would enter the dance studio, it's like my mind was on the task at hand. And it's like, okay, we did a warm up, we did certain things, we would do spins and new techniques we would have to learn. And so my focus was there and on those things. So it's like I had to become more present and aware of just those things. And I didn't even realize at the time, but in doing that, it would like suddenly work was like over there somewhere and it's not in my mind anymore. So it became something that, like I mentioned in the video yesterday, of like, oh, people say don't take your work home with you, and it's like this was a way for me to not take work home with me. Like I would go to the class and I wasn't thinking about work anymore, and it was just thinking about, again, the moves and the task at hand. And then I had a community of friends with it as well, so we would see each other weekly in these classes, and so I also had that connection with the friends too. So I offer this up because pole dancing was what I did, but you can do really any kind of movement, anything that brings you joy as well. And for me, I really enjoyed doing these classes, and I loved moving and feeling, sexy and moving for myself. And so you can do these kind of classes, but I really recommend too that it's something you enjoy doing, because for myself, if I had to like make myself go to the gym, yeah, even doing the 65 hours, there's no way I would go to the gym, it's like, or any way that I would do certain things that I'm just not that motivated to do or not that interested in doing. So having not only the community of friends with the classes, but also the joy that I had with it, like it really kept me going back constantly and every week. And, you know, we would do other classes too, like flexibility and stretching. And, you know, so I loved going to them because of the community, because it felt good for myself. So I offer these things up because I know that when you're doing these kind of crazier hours and exhausting, it's like, how can you shut it off? How can you go from working, and then like home or something? And this was one way that really easily, quickly shut it off for me. So again, over on my Patreon page this week, I'm going into connecting with the body around burnout and a few different things and techniques you can do or connecting to your body. So do take a look. That's in the dialog box below. So I know it takes time as well, like for myself, building up the community that I had with the classes that I was going to. Like it did not just happen overnight. And when I moved and I went somewhere else, I didn't really build up that community again. And it was not as easy in certain places or, you know, whatever. So it does shift and change, and it depends on where you are and what you want. So like try out different things, you know, see what can get you moving or what can get you feeling good in your body, or is there other techniques, you know, maybe even meditation or something that can get you shifted out of work and into kind of a present moment. And I know, again, like the video I talked about yesterday, I was talking about doing even more hours, and when I would get to a certain point of doing even more than the 65 and getting up to like 75 and more, I couldn't even do movement or classes. It just was something that I was like, yeah, right, I'm not going to do that. So this is where you're still able to do things and, you know, want to actually do them. And this is, for me, a way that I was able to, like I said, shut off work. You know, it's like, okay, I'm now shifted over to this. And again, it really was an amazing therapy for myself of mentally and physically just feeling and shifting completely out of the stressful day and into kind of being myself again. So thank you for joining me today. I'm AmyC with You Finding You. And if you are enjoying and getting value out of these videos, do hit that like, share, and subscribe button below. And thank you again. I'll see you in the next video.